Welcome, travelers of time and myth, to Forgotten Scrolls. Have you ever felt your soul yearn for freedom, for greatness, or for a connection with the divine? Then this tale is for you, for within it dwells the essence of the impossible, a winged horse that touched the sky and left an eternal mark upon the earth. Tonight, we will walk slowly through the mythical birth of Pegasus, emerging from the blood of a monster. We will witness how a hero rode him to defy beasts, and how the gods elevated him to an eternal legend. From epic battles to moments of poignant fall, from sacred springs to the throne of Olympus, each chapter unveils a fascinating fragment of his luminous legacy. This story is more than mere mythology. It is a profound symbol of inspiration, of power, and of quiet humility. If you are seeking serenity, ancient wisdom, and a journey for the soul before sleep, you have arrived at the sacred place. With a tranquil yet enveloping narration, we will help you discover why Pegasus continues to live in timeless poems, in distant constellations, and in the deepest chambers of human hearts. So settle in, breathe deeply, and open your mind, because what you are about to hear is not merely a story. It is an eternal flight between the human and the divine. Chapter 1. The Birth of the Winged Steed. From the deepest currents of Greek mythology, the origin of Pegasus is as dramatic as it is profoundly fascinating. It all begins with the monstrous Medusa, a creature whose hair writhed with serpents and whose gaze could instantly turn any mortal into cold stone. This Gorgon was feared even by the immortal gods, and her destiny was carved by a divine tragedy. Medusa met her end at the hands of the hero Perseus, who, armed with a reflective shield and a sharpened blade, managed to decapitate her without daring to look directly upon her face. When Medusa's severed head fell to the ground, something truly extraordinary unfolded. From her wounded neck, there emerged a horse, pure white, utterly majestic, and with magnificent wings. Thus was Pegasus born. This birth itself is rich with symbolism and shrouded in mystery, for Pegasus is no mere horse. He is a celestial being, a living bridge that connects the terrestrial world with the divine realms. His winged form embodies freedom, the soaring flight towards the impossible, and the quiet inspiration that often blossoms in the wake of darkness and profound defeat. According to some ancient versions, Pegasus is the son of Poseidon, the mighty god of the sea and of horses, and Medusa. He sprang from a tumultuous union, a tale of divine punishment and a stormy love. This powerful lineage bestows upon him a unique strength and a destiny irrevocably linked to the gods and to the greatest heroes of antiquity. From his very first breath, Pegasus displayed an untamed yet noble temperament. His coat, white as freshly fallen snow, and his grand, sweeping wings gave him an ethereal, almost unreal presence, as if he were a silent messenger sent to traverse the heavens and fulfill special, unseen missions. No mortal hand could easily master him. Pegasus lived initially amidst the highest mountains, where it was whispered that he galloped between passing clouds and raging storms. There, he quietly transformed into a potent symbol of untamed natural power and boundless freedom, a vision that stirred both profound admiration and a deep, respectful awe in the hearts of men. The ancient poets, those who truly listened to the whispers of the world, used Pegasus's image to speak of artistic inspiration, linking him inextricably with the muses and the sacred springs of creativity. It was believed that this winged steed could carry poets to the most sublime heights of imaginative power, granting them a direct conduit to the divine realms of thought. It is no mere coincidence that Pegasus's birth is so intrinsically tied to a heroic and violent act, the slaying of Medusa. His sudden appearance, vividly, symbolizes the triumph of beauty and inspiration over the very essence of horror and destruction. He is a pure, radiant light that bursts forth from the deepest, most consuming darkness. As the ages turned, Pegasus would be chosen as a mount by various heroes, but his true story begins here, as a pristine, almost divine symbol embodying the profound idea that even from profound tragedy, something truly magnificent and eternally resonant can arise. This magnificent winged horse is also a profound representation of the sacred union between earth and sky, between the tangible and the spiritual. His miraculous birth marks the genesis of countless adventures, where the majestic steed would prove crucial in transcending limitations and reaching the seemingly unattainable. In Greek culture, Pegasus was swiftly embraced as a divine gift bestowed upon humanity, a pure bridge spanning the mortal and the immortal worlds. His ethereal figure soared through countless myths and tales, always intertwined with concepts of profound greatness and unblemished nobility. Though Pegasus is a fantastic being, his origin is deeply woven into the ancient beliefs and core values of antiquity, an era where gods frequently intervened in human destiny and heroes sought glory with supernatural aid. Thus, the birth of Pegasus is not merely the commencement of a legend. It is, more deeply, a powerful symbol of hope and profound transformation. From the very blood of a monster, a creature of pure light emerges, a timeless reminder that even amidst the gravest adversity, true greatness can powerfully blossom. This sacred birth paves the way for a story where the winged steed will be a central protagonist in epic battles, arduous journeys, and formidable confrontations, always carrying with him the inherent power and the deep mystery of his divine origin. Chapter 2: The Hero and the Monster. In ancient Greece, there lived a hero named Bellerophon, whose destiny became intimately intertwined with that of Pegasus. Though the son of a king, he was raised in humble circumstances. From a young age, Bellerophon displayed a valiant and resolute spirit. His name soon became synonymous with courage and an ambition that would compel him to confront the seemingly impossible. Bellerophon yearned to achieve the kind of glory that only the gods could bestow. However, his path was destined to be far from simple. He first faced intricate intrigues within the court of Corinth, where he was falsely accused and unjustly sent into exile. It was then that his epic adventure truly began, an adventure that would unite him forever with the mythical winged horse. This hero received crucial aid from the goddess Athena herself, who gifted him a bridle of pure gold destined to tame the wild Pegasus. Ancient lore recounts that Bellerophon, drawing upon his inherent valor and divine blessing, successfully captured the majestic horse near a sacred spring. This extraordinary feat marked the beginning of his own ascent to greatness and the forging of his legendary alliance with the Winged Steed. Together, Pegasus and Bellerophon formed an invincible duo. Side by side, they confronted numerous perils, yet one of the most terrifying was the Chimera, a monstrous creature that scourged the lands with its fiery breath. The fate of many peoples rested upon the unwavering courage of this hero and his winged mount. The Chimera, with its head of a lion, body of a goat, and tail of a serpent, was a living embodiment of chaos and utter destruction. No one had ever managed to defeat her, and her very presence sowed widespread terror. Bellerophon and Pegasus had a clear mission: to liberate the peoples from this dire threat. Before the battle, Bellerophon displayed profound respect and strategic caution, consulting the oracles and meticulously preparing his approach. The combination of his strength, his sharp intelligence, and Pegasus's extraordinary ability to fly gave them an unparalleled advantage over any terrestrial foe. Facing the Chimera demanded not only brute physical strength, but also subtle cunning. Bellerophon deftly utilized the aerial mobility that Pegasus provided, skillfully dodging the monster's fiery assaults and patiently searching for the precise moment to deliver a mortal blow. Their alliance was a perfect, seamless synchronicity between man and divine creature. The combat itself was ferocious and thick with tension, with the Chimera's monstrous fire illuminating the sky and Bellerophon's unwavering valor guiding every single movement. Finally, with a precise and decisive strike, the hero managed to fell the beast, saving his people and securing his place among the eternal legends. This monumental triumph cemented Bellerophon's status as one of the greatest heroes in Greek mythology. Yet it also marked the subtle beginning of a tale that would ultimately reveal the fragile limits of human power and the profound importance of humility in the presence of the gods. The intimate relationship between the hero and the winged horse was put to its ultimate test after this battle, when Bellerophon, blinded by his overwhelming success, audaciously attempted to ascend to Olympus, riding upon Pegasus. This audacious action was immediately perceived as an act of profound arrogance, one that the gods could not, under any circumstances, tolerate. Zeus, the mighty king of the gods, punished Bellerophon for his daring audacity, casting him down to a painful fall and into a lonely exile. Pegasus, however, was spared. He had merely obeyed his rider. His unwavering loyalty was not punished. Zeus forgave him and granted him a place in the heavens, not as a punishment, but as a sacred reward for his inherent purity and his role as an unwitting instrument of divine destiny. There, Pegasus would quietly transform into a constellation, an eternal reminder of his divine origin and his unbreakable connection with the celestial. Thus, the Chaos story of Bellerophon and Pegasus vividly teaches the duality between unchecked power and essential humility, between fleeting glory and enduring wisdom. The human hero possesses inherent limits that must be respected to maintain equilibrium with the divine. The profound bond between man and winged horse also represents the sacred connection between the terrestrial and the celestial, a bond that can only truly flourish with mutual respect and deep understanding. This narrative continues to inspire all who seek to achieve their loftiest goals without ever forgetting the crucial importance of modesty and profound gratitude. For in Greek mythology, just as in life itself, true greatness is inevitably accompanied by solemn responsibilities. The encounter between the hero and the monster is not merely an adventure tale, it is a deep, resonant lesson about the delicate balance required to confront the profound challenges of human existence. Chapter 3. The Chimera's Last Breath. The Chimera was a truly fearsome creature that terrorized the land surrounding Lycia. Its monstrous body was a horrifying composite of lion, goat, and serpent, and its searing, fiery breath consumed everything in its path. The local peoples lived under its crushing shadow of destruction, crying out for a savior who could finally end its reign of terror. Bellerophon was dispatched by King Iobates to defeat this beast, a task that many considered utterly impossible. Nevertheless, armed with his resolute bravery and mounted upon Pegasus, he accepted the formidable challenge without a moment's hesitation. His profound alliance with the winged horse bestowed upon him a unique and decisive advantage in facing such an overwhelming danger. Before the climactic battle, Bellerophon sought counsel and purification in sacred temples. He knew with quiet certainty that physical strength alone would not suffice to vanquish the Chimera. He also needed to be in perfect harmony with the gods. His deep spiritual connection with Pegasus was utterly essential for this mission. When the Chimera finally appeared, its fury was relentless. The fire it exhaled seemed unstoppable, and its multiple heads displayed an unmatched ferocity. But Bellerophon and Pegasus did not falter. On the contrary, they skillfully utilized their incredible speed and soaring flight to deftly evade its devastating attacks. Bellerophon's strategy involved striking from the air, a realm where the Chimera could not reach, with its fire nor its monstrous claws. Pegasus galloped with impossible agility among the clouds, gracefully dodging every charge, while the hero patiently sought the opportune moment to strike. With a blend of calm patience and remarkable dexterity, Bellerophon managed to draw near enough to plunge his spear into the beast's neck. The blow was precise and true, yet the Chimera did not immediately fall, exhibiting a formidable resistance that prolonged the brutal battle. As they struggled, the Chimera unleashed one final desperate breath of fire, illuminating the sky with a fierce, blinding inferno. Pegasus and Bellerophon had to maneuver with extreme rapidity to avoid being consumed by this ultimate offensive. Finally, with a supreme, concerted effort, the hero drove his spear deep into the monster's chest, delivering instant death. The very earth trembled as the colossal beast fell, and a profound calm finally returned to the region after so much suffering. The peoples celebrated their hard-won victory with immense jubilation and heartfelt gratitude towards Bellerophon and his winged steed. The Chimera had been vanquished, and with its demise, a terror that had sown fear and destruction for years finally vanished. This battle was not merely a military triumph, it was also a powerful symbol of the profound alliance between the human and the divine. Pegasus allowed Bellerophon to transcend limits that no warrior could ever have achieved alone. After this extraordinary feat, the fame of both hero and steed soared, and the story of their victory spread across the entire Hellenic world. The combat against the Chimera became one of the most enduring and widely remembered episodes of Greek mythology. However, this great triumph also subtly led Bellerophon to believe he could challenge the very gods themselves. His ambition began to swell, propelling him down a path that would imperil his own destiny. The battle against the Chimera served as a test of courage and cunning, but also as a stark warning about the crucial balance between power and humility. It was a lesson the hero would be tragically slow to absorb. Pegasus, following this victory, became an enduring symbol of inspiration and boundless freedom, while Bellerophon faced the grim consequences of his future choices deeply stained by pride and open defiance of the divine. Chapter 4. The Ascent of a Myth. Following the triumphant victory over the Chimera, Bellerophon and Pegasus began to be revered throughout all of Greece. Their extraordinary feat transcended the very boundaries of time and space, transforming them into potent symbols of heroism and immense power. The hero's fame soared, but even more so did the renown of the Winged Steed, who utterly captivated the imagination of all who heard his tale. Ancient narratives recounted how Pegasus, with his pristine white and majestic wings, soared through the heavens, carrying Bellerophon to realms where no mortal had ever dared to venture. This vivid image of boundless freedom and exhilarating conquest elevated the magnificent horse to the status of a living legend, profoundly inspiring countless poets and artists. Temples began to dedicate statues and altars in honor of Pegasus, revering him not merely as a divine creature, but as a radiant symbol of celestial inspiration itself. The Muses, the sacred deities of creativity, became intrinsically associated with the steed, transforming him into a powerful emblem of art and profound wisdom. In the realm of art, Pegasus was depicted innumerable times, adorning painted vases, elaborate frescoes, and grand sculptures. His figure frequently appeared in scenes of epic battles, graceful flight, and moments of intimate surrender to the hero, showcasing his versatility and his deep connection to both the human and the divine. The literature of the era vibrantly reflected the ascent of this myth, with poems and songs passionately narrating the adventures of the hero and his horse. These tales were lovingly passed down from generation to generation, feeding the collective memory and keeping the legend vibrantly alive. Not only in Greece, but in other neighboring cultures, Pegasus began to be universally recognized as a potent symbol of power and unblemished purity. His image was adopted and subtly adapted, transcending geographical borders and acquiring new, rich meanings in diverse cultural contexts. Bellerophon, meanwhile, reveled in his newfound prestige and glory. Yet his ambition quietly began to overflow its natural bounds. The ancient myth subtly warns that unbridled ascent, without the tempering hand of moderation, inevitably leads to a precipitous fall, and this timeless story would prove to be no exception. It is said that, fueled by his overwhelming success, Bellerophon audaciously attempted to ascend to Olympus, riding upon Pegasus. This act was deemed a grave transgression against the very order of the gods. This arrogant attempt vividly symbolizes the eternal struggle between human aspiration and the fundamental limits imposed by the divine. Although Pegasus was, by his very nature, a celestial being, he was destined to serve as a pure bridge, not as a defiant vehicle for human hubris. The gods, in their infinite wisdom and unwavering justice, punished Bellerophon, sending him spiraling into a devastating fall that marked the dramatic end of his ascent. but not the end of the Winged Steed's eternal legend. The figure of Pegasus, however, continued to grow in profound importance. He was gracefully elevated to the celestial realm as a constellation, an eternal, shimmering reminder of his divine origin and his unbreakable connection with the sacred cosmos. Thus, his ascent to Olympus was distinct, definitive, and eternal. The myths surrounding this chapter illuminate the intricate complexity of both the hero and his noble mount. While one tragically succumbed to overwhelming arrogance, the other achieved pure immortality among the stars. This profound duality imbues the story with deeper meaning and timeless teachings. Greek culture, with its deep understanding of universal truths, employed this narrative to impart lessons about essential humility, the respectful acknowledgement of limits, and the sacred, ever-present connection between humanity and the transcendent. Pegasus himself beautifully symbolizes the inspiration that can only be truly grasped with profound respect and unwavering dedication. The myth of Pegasus's ascent is also a profound metaphor for the artistic and spiritual journey. Struggle, moments of incandescent glory, and even tragic falls are all integral parts of the transformative process that ultimately leads to true greatness. Finally, this pivotal chapter in history firmly solidifies Pegasus as a universal symbol, whose enduring power and deep mystery continue to inspire all who seek to fly beyond their perceived limitations. Chapter 5. The Living Waters of Inspiration. Among the many sacred gifts attributed to Pegasus, one of the most revered was his profound connection with the very wellsprings of inspiration. The most celebrated of these is Hippocrene, a legendary spring that, according to ancient mythology, burst forth from a powerful strike of his hoof. This hallowed place quickly became an eternal symbol of boundless creativity and profound wisdom. Mount Helicon, where this miraculous spring originated, was already the revered home of the Muses, the daughters of mighty Zeus and Mnemosyne. Upon witnessing Pegasus gallop across their slopes, they celebrated his magnificent presence as a divine omen, a silent messenger gracefully bridging the heavens and the earthly realm. It was at that very moment that Pegasus struck a rock on the mountain with immense force, and from that spot, Hippocrene surged forth. Its waters were exquisitely crystalline and deep, and it was believed that anyone who drank from them received the extraordinary gift of artistic inspiration. Thus, the unbreakable bond between the winged steed and the invisible forces of pure creation was eternally sealed. The poets of antiquity considered it a sacred privilege to visit this spring. It was not merely a physical location, but a profound spiritual space where the human mind could effortlessly ascend beyond the mundane. There, they fervently sought visions, intricate metaphors, and divine revelations that nourished their deepest works. The iconic image of Pegasus alongside Hippocrene transcended the confines of time, transforming into an enduring emblem for all artists. Even today, his noble figure appears on the crests of literary academies, on prestigious awards, and in various symbols associated with creativity, serving as a timeless reminder of his role as a celestial bridge to the sublime. Water, as a purifying and life-giving element, here unites with the myth of the winged horse to eloquently represent the divine origin of all true art. Not everything created by human hands stems solely from arduous effort. There are profound moments when the spark, the initial divine idea, descends from above, and Pegasus beautifully symbolizes that ethereal instant. Ancient Greek narratives do not meticulously detail how many springs Pegasus opened, but Hippocrene remained the most deeply revered. Some tales whisper that the horse also caused waters to flow on other sacred mountains, such as Parnassus. Each of these new springs, in turn, became a focal point of worship and heartfelt devotion. For the ancients, drinking from Hippocrene was not merely a literal act, it was a profound metaphor for gaining access to superior knowledge, a gift reserved only for those sensitive enough to perceive the hidden beauty, the inherent order, and the rhythmic pulse of nature and the human soul. The worship of this spring was not always official, yet it was profoundly felt. Artists undertook specific rituals, deep meditations, and arduous pilgrimages toward Mount Helicon, not for religious aims, but as an internal journey toward the transformative inspiration that elevates life itself into poetry. Pegasus, though ever silent and utterly free, was seen as a sacred protector of all creators. His majestic flight symbolized thought that gracefully soars beyond the ordinary, and his constant presence in these narratives conveyed profound respect and deep veneration for the invisible forces of the human spirit. In times of profound darkness or pervasive crisis, the wise would recall that Hippocrene continued to flow eternally, that the boundless power of inspiration never truly dies, but patiently awaits for human souls to be truly ready to receive its silent, transformative message. And Pegasus, as its eternal guardian, forever watches over that sacred spring. For centuries, this powerful image continued to inspire countless writers, profound philosophers, and talented musicians. The majestic white horse that causes springs to burst forth with his hooves, and who spiritually connects the mortal world with the muses, represents humanity's eternal quest for meaning, for beauty, and for universal harmony. Unlike heroes who confront monsters with physical weapons, artists wage their battles with words, with resonant sounds, and with evocative forms. And Pegasus, without any need for violence, offers them an even mightier tool: the divine gift to imagine the unseen and to touch the intangible with mere words or the subtle stroke of a brush. The story of Hippocrene serves as a gentle reminder that not everything in life is a struggle or a conquest. There are also sacred spaces where the soul can truly rest, drink deeply from the wellspring of existence, and freely dream. And in every true dream, the spirit of Pegasus gallops unburdened, leaving shimmering traces upon the eternal waters. Chapter 6. The Divine Judgment. The gods of Olympus observed every action of mortals with unwavering attention. When Bellerophon dared to attempt an ascent to the heavens, mounted upon Pegasus, a divine crisis was immediately triggered. The mortal man sought to occupy a place reserved exclusively for the immortals, thereby defiantly challenging the sacred order of the universe. Zeus, the mighty lord of lightning and celestial balance, interpreted this audacious act as a direct and grave offense. No mortal, by divine decree, was permitted to transgress the inherent boundaries of the human world without explicit permission. It was not mere arrogance that enraged the gods, but the sheer audacity of breaking an unwritten fundamental law. The scene that unfolded was both majestic and fraught with profound tension. Pegasus, ever obedient and noble, ascended with powerful grace while Bellerophon clutched the reins with unbridled pride. The air grew thinner and colder, and Olympus shimmered visibly in the distance, yet the glory he so desperately sought would never be his. Zeus made a firm and immediate decision. He dispatched a colossal gadfly to sting Pegasus, who, wounded and utterly startled, recoiled violently. The hero lost his precarious control, was hurled into the vast emptiness, and plummeted spectacularly back to Earth. He did not die, but his body was left permanently crippled. The gods did not punish him with death, but with something far more agonizing: eternal oblivion and profound humiliation. Bellerophon lived the remainder of his days as a wandering outcast, despised and utterly estranged from humanity, burdened by the crushing weight of his monumental error. His tragic story became a stark, timeless warning. Pegasus, for his part, was deemed blameless. He had simply obeyed his rider. His unblemished loyalty remained unpunished. Zeus graciously forgave him and granted him a hallowed place in the heavens, not as a form of punishment, but as a sacred reward for his intrinsic purity and his role as an instrument of inescapable destiny. This profound judgment unequivocally established a clear division between the earthly and divine realms. The gods firmly reaffirmed their absolute power and demonstrated that access to Olympus had to be earned through pure virtue, never through brazen ambition. The myth thus teaches that even the most heroic acts have inherent limits. The consequences extended beyond Bellerophon. humanity learned that there exists an invisible line that must never be crossed. Unchecked hubris, when left uncontrolled, can unleash the terrifying wrath of the higher forces that govern the cosmic order. The judgment was not an impulsive punishment. It was a meticulously measured decision, executed with divine precision to restore equilibrium. The justice of the gods differed profoundly from that of mortals. They did not punish with cruelty, but with powerful symbols and cautionary destinies. Pegasus was carried to the sky as a radiant star, transforming into a constellation that forever watches over the world from above. Thus, the judgment concluded with both a severe punishment and a sublime elevation, teaching that virtue and obedience could still be profoundly rewarded, even amidst profound human error. This darker chapter did not overshadow the myth, rather it enriched it, showing that even the greatest heroes can falter, and that true greatness also encompasses accepting the profound consequences of one's actions. The story became more human, and yet, paradoxically, more divine at the same time. Greek wisdom resonates deeply within this tale. For them, the gods were not perfect, but they were ultimately just. Through their divine decisions, they imparted crucial values such as moderation, respect, and the delicate harmony between worlds. Since then, countless narratives have echoed this timeless lesson. Unbridled ambition inevitably leads to a precipitous fall. Yet, they also made it abundantly clear that not all is lost. There is profound redemption in obedience, ethereal beauty in sacrifice, and eternal life for the truly righteous. Pegasus was never again ridden by another mortal. His spirit was elevated to a distinct sphere, far beyond human desire and earthly struggle. He became a pure symbol of the divine, leaving behind the inevitable errors of humanity. Thus, the judgment of the gods concluded, not as a destructive act, but as a transformative one. And in that profound transformation, the legend of Pegasus shone with even greater brilliance, soaring through the heavens as an eternal reminder of the sacred boundary between humanity and the divine. Chapter 7. The Fall of Bellerophon. The fall of Bellerophon was not merely physical, it was, far more profoundly, spiritual. After being cast down from the immense heights by Pegasus, his body struck the earth with devastating force. Broken bones and wounded flesh were but the external reflections of a soul shattered by hubris and the consuming desire to be more than human. The days of his incandescent glory were irrevocably behind him. No one in Greece ever saw him as a hero again. The man who had once vanquished the Chimera and tamed Pegasus was tragically reduced to a wandering shadow. The populace shunned him, and his name, once celebrated with fervent jubilation, was now uttered with a mixture of profound sadness or quiet dread. Bellerophon, his gait unsteady, his soul consumed by bitter remorse, retreated to the loneliest, most desolate fields. He sought neither aid nor companionship. His wounded pride kept him utterly isolated, trapped in a spiraling vortex of silence and overwhelming desolation. He spent his days gazing up at the sky, knowing, with a crushing certainty, that the steed he once rode now lived among the gods, while he remained utterly forsaken. He felt no hatred, only a profound, aching emptiness. The betrayal was not from Pegasus. It sprang from his own choices, from his desperate arrogance in desiring to share the very throne of the immortals. In his lonely exile, he wandered along dusty, forgotten paths without refuge or discernible destination. He subsisted on whatever scraps he could find, becoming utterly unrecognizable. His overgrown beard, his vacant gaze, and his tattered clothes bore stark witness to the utter ruin of a man who had once dared to challenge the impossible. Tales whisper that he spoke to himself, repeating the names of the gods, sometimes as a desperate plea, other times as a bitter reproach. Occasionally, he would pause by rivers or ancient trees recounting his past exploits as if the natural world were his soul's silent confidant. Some shepherds who glimpsed him spoke of how he would weep silently through the nights, calling out to Pegasus in his dreams, as if his very soul had fractured into two halves, one forever broken upon the earth, the other desperately yearning to soar once more toward a lost eternity. No city would ever accept him again, not out of cruelty, but from a pervasive fear of attracting the gods' wrath. No one wished for the hubris of a single man to drag others down into collective misfortune. Bellerophon's profound solitude was, in itself, a communal punishment. The wise who meticulously studied his story often remarked that his tragedy was not a mere curse, but a living, breathing lesson. Grandeur without humility inevitably crumbles into ruin. The man who fails to recognize his own inherent limits will ultimately be devoured by his own insatiable desires. Bellerophon lived many years in this desolate state, slowly succumbing to old age without solace. He sought no redemption, nor did he rebel against the gods. He simply consumed himself in his profound repentance. His stooped figure walked forgotten paths, as if eternally searching for something he could no longer possess. Some believe that in his final days he found a measure of peace. They say he finally understood his error and accepted it without hatred, that he looked up at the sky one last time, and upon seeing the constellation of Pegasus, a tired smile touched his lips, as one who, at last, comprehends the true meaning of his own destiny. He died unwitnessed, just as he had lived since his fall. The earth received him in silence, and no grave bears his name. Only the enduring myths preserve his memory, a complex blend of glory and a timeless warning, for his story is not one of victory, but of profound human limitation. Bellerophon's tragedy did not eclipse his inherent valor, rather, it transformed it. He is no longer solely the hero who slew the Chimera, but the man who flew too high and tragically fell. That profound duality makes him a deeply human character, far more relatable than any god. Unlike other heroes who met their end in glorious battle, Bellerophon died in spirit every single day since his fall, and that makes his story unforgettable. His narrative gently reminds us that true flight is only noble if it respects the very height for which we were fundamentally created. Thus, ended the life of the man who yearned to reach Olympus, and in his quiet end, he left a resonant warning that echoes to this very day. Not every height is our destined path, and not every brilliant light is within human grasp. Chapter 8. Pegasus in the Heavens. After his poignant separation from Bellerophon, Pegasus never again touched the earthly ground with his hooves. The gods, profoundly impressed by his inherent nobility, welcomed him into Olympus as a sacred creature. He was not treated as a mere beast, but as a being truly worthy of the celestial realm. Zeus, the mighty king of the gods, displayed a particular and special interest in Pegasus. He recognized in him not only immense strength and unparalleled speed, but an incorruptible loyalty that set him apart from any other mythological being. Thus, Zeus decided to assign Pegasus a unique and vital role among the immortals. From that moment forward, Pegasus quietly became the bearer of Zeus's thunderbolts. Each time the father of the gods desired to unleash his fearsome lightning bolts upon the earth, it was Pegasus who majestically transported them from the celestial heights. He became a direct, living conduit between the sky and the storm. The other gods gazed upon him with profound respect. His very presence brought an air of unblemished purity to Olympus, as if he were a constant reminder that even among the gods, nobility and incorruptibility could truly exist. He did not speak with mortal words, but his gaze seemed to comprehend the eternal language of the cosmos. Pegasus traversed the heavens with boundless freedom, soaring through clouds and flying far above the mortal world. On clear nights, many mortals believed they could glimpse him as a brilliant shadow, silently crossing the firmament. His silhouette was instantly recognizable by his elegant aerial gallop. He had no master, no earthly rider. He obeyed only the gods, and even then, he retained his inherent freedom. He was the perfect embodiment of balance, a harmony between absolute obedience and profound autonomy, between sacred duty and an untamed free spirit. For this reason, no other mortal was ever again granted the right to ride him. On rare occasions, Hera would summon him to escort divine processions. At other times, Apollo would observe him with a touch of envy, secretly wishing Pegasus would join his celestial retinue. But Pegasus responded only to the direct call of Zeus, whom he revered above all others. During the Olympic festivals, poets would recite hymns in his honor. He was not a god himself, yet he was a creature whose very essence seemed to transcend the terrestrial world. He stood as a timeless symbol of balance, power, and a beauty that remained uncorrupted by the passage of time. Children grew up listening to tales of his majestic flight, dreaming of touching his powerful wings or witnessing him unleash lightning from the heavens. Some even attributed to him the power to protect the innocent, appearing in dreams to guide or warn them. In the most ancient temples, certain paintings depicted Pegasus briefly descending to the mortal world to inspire the wise. His role transformed from a hero's mount to a divine messenger and the silent protector of universal order. He never claimed his place, yet Olympus freely offered him one. An entire constellation was named in his honor, etching his luminous figure among the eternal stars. There, in the vast nocturnal sky, he remains forever, a symbol of that which neither dies nor ages. Pegasus did not speak, but his mere presence was enough to calm even the fiercest disputes among the gods. His silent stride through the ethereal gardens of Olympus evoked a rare harmony in that world of eternal passions and conflicts. Centuries flowed by, yet Pegasus remained unchanged. It was as if time itself could not touch him. Neither older nor younger, he continued to fly with the same inherent grace with which he was born, like an eternal spirit that belongs nowhere, yet honors everywhere. Amidst the clouds, within the heart of storms, in the very light that tears through the sky, his essence lives on. Every lightning bolt that strikes the earth could be a message, a quiet reminder that Pegasus still rides through the heavens, fulfilling his sacred destiny. And so, in Olympus, Pegasus was not merely accepted, he was consecrated. His story ceased to be that of a warhorse and became the tale of an eternal creature, elevated by his innate purity, the silent guardian of a heaven that still holds his ethereal hoofprints. Chapter 9. The Steed of Lightning. From his hallowed arrival on Olympus, Pegasus transcended into the very embodiment of the celestial mount. His vital role as the silent bearer of Zeus's thunderbolts was not merely symbolic, it was absolutely essential for the delicate balance of the cosmos. When a storm was destined to manifest, it was he who brought forth the divine power. The lightning bolts themselves were no mere weapons. They were powerful manifestations of the supreme god's unwavering will. Pegasus, by transporting them, became an undeniable instrument of divine justice. He did not decide the fates, but he was the silent catalyst who ensured Zeus's decisions reached their destined conclusion. He soared over the clouds with meticulous precision. Each powerful beat of his magnificent wings generated a low, resonant rumble that preceded the mighty thunderclap. Wherever his ethereal shadow passed, the sky would subtly darken, and the winds would begin to stir and spiral. It was a silent, profound warning that something truly grand and elemental was drawing near. The most memorable storms in history were guided by his unseen presence. Some ancient peoples whispered that if one gazed intently into the sky during a flash of lightning, one might discern the faint, fleeting figure of a white horse dancing amidst the radiant bolts. That was Pegasus, silently fulfilling his celestial mission. When Zeus's wrath was deemed implacable, Pegasus would descend with terrifying swiftness. His hooves never quite touched the earth, yet raw electricity crackled and pulsed all around him. It was as if all of nature itself recognized his passage and humbly bowed before his might. The ancient temples spoke of the 3 gallops. 3 times a year, Pegasus would soar over the continents carrying the sacred lightning, purifying the earth of spiritual impurities. It was a rite unseen by mortal eyes, yet deeply perceptible to the soul. Zeus placed such profound trust in Pegasus that he used no other being to carry his thunderbolts. Even Hermes, the swiftest of messengers, respected the unique role of the Winged Steed. For while Hermes delivered mere words, Pegasus delivered destiny, judgment, and ultimately renewal. On warm summer nights, when distant thunder rumbled, families would recount stories of him. They said his electric gallop was a stern warning to the arrogant, and a luminous sign of hope for the just and the innocent. Some artists dared to attempt representing this awe-inspiring image. Pegasus enveloped in pure light, his mane crackling with sparks, his eyes gleaming with celestial fire. But no mortal brush could ever truly capture the sheer majesty of that being who flew amidst the lightning, as if they were but extensions of his very soul. In Orphic chants, he was called the Winged One of the Heavens and the Son of Thunder, not by birth, but by his profound new identity. Pegasus became a being existing between worlds, transcending mere myth, actively participating in the deepest celestial mysteries. There was no pride in his service, only unwavering duty. He sought neither applause nor recognition. His gallop was silent, mostly invisible to the mortal eye, yet profoundly felt by those who knew how to see beyond the world's mundane noise. In certain secret rituals, priests would invoke his energy to petition for rain, for light, or for spiritual cleansing. They did not worship Pegasus as a god, but they venerated him as an emissary of something higher, as a symbol of pure, uncorrupted power. Unlike other mythological creatures, Pegasus carried no history of violence or betrayal. His intimate connection with lightning, though fearsome, was never inherently destructive. It manifested only when the divine order expressly commanded it. In times of profound peace, he would still fly, but his light was soft, and his rays never touched the earth. It was his subtle way of reminding all that power does not always destroy. Sometimes it illuminates, it reveals, and it gently guides. And that made him even more magnificent. Thus, Pegasus was far more than a mere steed. He became the very spirit of lightning, the silent bearer of both judgment and sacred light. His flight amidst the thunderbolts was not a punishment, but a divine symphony, eternally connecting heaven with earth in every resonant thunderclap. Chapter 10. The Legacy in Tourmailles, Earth and Sky. Pegasus not only left his profound mark on the clouds he gracefully traversed, but also, far more deeply, on the hearts of humanity. Since antiquity, his magnificent figure has become an enduring symbol of inspiration, of ethereal beauty, and of elevated strength. Poets, artists, and profound thinkers found in him an eternal ideal. On Earth, countless temples and statues were erected in his honor. While he was not worshipped as a god, his majestic image adorned altars, mosaics, and frescoes. He was the very representation of the sublime, that which intimately connects the human spirit with the divine, without the need for any violence. Poetry, in particular, was one of the fields most profoundly influenced by his boundless legacy. The ancients believed that the muses themselves invoked him when they descended to earth. His invisible gallop over creative minds was thought to awaken the most sublime verses. Even philosophers like Plato recognized and mentioned Pegasus as a poignant example of an elevated soul. For him, the winged steed symbolized the soul's deepest aspiration towards absolute truth and divine light. He was not just a myth, but a powerful metaphor for the spirit's ascent towards the eternal. The art schools of antiquity depicted him as a silent guide to the human imagination. His wings were not merely physical, they were, more truly, mental. Anyone who dreamt of Pegasus was believed to be blessed with the unique ability to see beyond the visible, to touch the intangible with mere words or the subtle stroke of a brush. In the realm of astronomy, his figure was forever immortalized with a constellation that proudly bears his name. Ancient astronomers meticulously traced his silhouette among the stars, as if he were a nocturnal reminder that true greatness can ascend far beyond the confines of time. This constellation was observed by diverse cultures, from distant Babylonia to mighty Rome. Each culture interpreted him in its own unique way, but all agreed that he represented something pure, something noble, and something profoundly superior, an archetype that powerfully survives in the heavens and in the collective soul, even through the medieval ages. Pegasus was then rediscovered by alchemists and mystics as a potent symbol of hidden knowledge. It was whispered that anyone who could truly comprehend the silent language of Pegasus would gain access to the deepest truths of the universe, and rise above the shadows of ignorance. By the Renaissance, his image resurfaced with renewed vigor. Sculptures, philosophical treatises, and vibrant paintings were reborn with his winged figure. Leonardo da Vinci, famously obsessed with the very concept of flight, studied Pegasus both as a symbol and as a profound metaphor. Pegasus embodied technical inspiration and spiritual transcendence all at once. In modern literature, Pegasus has become an icon of free, unburdened art. Publishing houses, literary academies, and prestigious awards bear his name as an emblem of creation unfettered by chains. His legacy has ceased to be exclusive to mythology, now residing within the very heart of global culture. Cinema and animation have brilliantly revived him with dazzling visual effects. In epic films, he descends from the sky at crucial moments, re-entering the consciousness of the modern public. He has transcended generations as a timeless symbol of pure magic and profound nobility. In modern art, his form has been reinterpreted in countless new styles, from soft watercolors to expansive urban murals. Sometimes abstract, other times meticulously detailed, Pegasus remains a silent muse for creators of all ages. Video games, too, have embraced him as a legendary creature. In many, he serves as a noble mount for heroes or a silent guardian of sacred temples. His wings allow passage across magical realms, and his pure essence remains intact: freedom and courage. Schools, libraries, and museums continue to adopt his image. He represents knowledge that elevates and transports the mind. He is used to inspire young minds to dream and to learn. His winged silhouette guides us to soar beyond our perceived limits. Thus, Pegasus has transcended simple myth to truly fly within our culture, from ancient marble to the digital screen. He is an eternal symbol of imagination, of profound power, and of timeless beauty. His figure continues to gallop through the history of human art. In the spiritual realm, many associate him with the guardian angel or the divine messenger. Pegasus does not dictate laws, nor does he impose punishments. He merely inspires, gently guides, and quietly reminds humanity that the sublime is far closer than we believe, if only we learn to look with the discerning eye of the soul. Today, as we gaze upon the stars or listen to the distant thunder, many feel an inexplicable connection. Perhaps it is the silent hoofprint of Pegasus, still flying invisibly over the world, leaving sparks of eternity in those who yet believe in true beauty. His legacy is not bound to a temple or to a musty book, but to the very essence of the human heart. In every act of true creation, in every gesture of profound nobility, Pegasus lives. He is the eternal symbol of that which flies without destroying, of that which inspires without demanding, of that which shines without consuming. Thus, his story does not conclude with an end, because Pegasus neither died nor vanished. He simply ascended, and since then, he gallops silently among the thoughts of humankind, a gentle reminder that some things, though intangible, can elevate us forever. Chapter 11. Whispers of the Myth's Mysteries. The name Pegasus originates from the ancient Greek word Pegasos, and some scholars connect it to the word pege, which means spring or fountain. This connection is no mere coincidence, as Pegasus has always been inextricably linked to water and to sacred springs. One of the most fascinating curiosities is his miraculous birth. He was not born from the union of ordinary horses. Instead, he sprang from the severed neck of Medusa when Perseus decapitated her. Alongside him, Chrysaor, another mythical being with a human form, also emerged. Unlike other mythological creatures, Pegasus never had a mate or offspring. His figure represents the singular, the unique. In many versions of the myth, he remains solitary, unparalleled, soaring through the heavens as a being without lineage. His profound connection with the Muses is significant. On Mount Helicon, it was said that when he struck the earth with his hoof, he caused the Hippocrene spring to gush forth, inspiring poets and artists alike. This intimate relationship solidified his role as a symbol of pure, unblemished creation. Despite being a Greek mythological creature, his figure transcended cultures. In the Middle Ages, he was adapted into Christian versions as a symbol of the soul ascending to heaven. He was also associated with resurrection and spiritual enlightenment. In classical iconography, Pegasus appears alongside Bellerophon, but also as an autonomous creature. Sometimes he is depicted carrying thunderbolts, other times escorting the muses. Each culture has highlighted different aspects of his rich symbolism. Not everyone knows that it was Zeus who finally elevated him to the firmament. After his services, the god transformed him into a constellation. Today, the constellation of Pegasus is one of the largest in the northern sky and can be observed during autumn. The link between Pegasus and Zeus's thunderbolts does not appear in the earliest versions of the myth. It was a later evolution as his figure began to be seen as a mediator between the gods and the human world. Thus, he transformed from a mythological creature into a divine symbol. Although Pegasus is primarily considered a symbol of peace and inspiration, he also embodies the untamed power of nature. His gallop could open springs, but also summon storms. He was a figure of delicate balance between the fury and the serene beauty of the natural world. On many ancient coins, especially from Corinth, Pegasus was depicted on the reverse side. These coins symbolized divine power and protection, as if bearing his image brought fortune, inspiration, or guardianship from the heavens. In modern literature, Pegasus has been extensively reclaimed in novels, films, and video games. His image appears as a hero's mount, but also as a guiding spirit. Even today, his figure is prominently present in the collective imagination. Some accounts suggest that Pegasus could traverse dimensions, not only flying through the physical sky, but also crossing the veil between the world of the living and that of the gods. This idea transforms him into a shamanic figure, a symbol of spiritual transition. In lesser-known versions, it is said that his mane emitted its own light, as if his essence were pure energy. This detail appears in Renaissance artistics representations, where he is portrayed with a radiant halo above his head. For centuries, his figure was sometimes confused with other winged creatures, but none managed to equal the purity or the profound symbolism that Pegasus embodies. He is the unique creature that unites the animal, the divine, and the poetic into a single, breathtaking image. Thus, the myth of Pegasus is not merely preserved, it is perpetually renewed. In each new generation, his story is recounted, reinterpreted, and deeply felt, because Pegasus does not belong to the past. He lives wherever there is a soul that still dares to gaze towards the heavens. Chapter 12. Pegasus in Art and Culture. From the dawn of antiquity, Pegasus has soared far beyond the confines of myth, gracefully entering temples, majestic sculptures, and ancient vases. His magnificent image transformed into an enduring symbol of inspiration and unparalleled beauty. Greek artists meticulously portrayed him with profound majesty. He was not merely a winged horse. He was, more truly, a living bridge spanning the terrestrial and the divine. On ceramic vases, he appears in heroic scenes alongside Bellerophon. The bold black strokes upon the reddish background vividly narrated epic battles and glorious flights. These intricate pieces were far more than mere decoration. They were silent storytellers of legends, and Pegasus remained one of the artisan's most beloved figures. During the resplendent Renaissance, his image experienced a powerful resurgence across Europe. Painters utilized him as a potent emblem of the elevated soul and of unfettered free thought. His majestic wings symbolized art as a profound escape from the material world, inspiring countless sculptors, lyrical poets, and passionate musicians. In numerous Baroque fountains and grand royal gardens, sculptures of Pegasus emerge gracefully amidst cascading waters and stately columns. He was meticulously carved in pristine white marble, with wings majestically extended. His regal presence adorned opulent palaces and bustling public squares. He symbolized nobility, pure innocence, and profound spiritual strength. In literature, Pegasus became synonymous with poetic inspiration. The very expression, "to mount Pegasus," came to signify creating with an elevated soul. Authors employed him as a powerful metaphor for the boundless human imagination. His soaring flight represents the ascent towards invisible ethereal worlds. In classical music, composers eloquently evoked him with airy, dynamic pieces. They intimately associated him with the lightness of the wind and the formidable power of thunder. In grand operas, he was often mentioned as a celestial creature. His figure transcended mere notes and melodies, becoming an intrinsic part of the musical tapestry. In the 20th century, Pegasus further transformed into a prominent symbol for various brands and corporations. His iconic image graced the logos of publishing houses, prestigious airlines, and even automobiles. He was utilized to convey notions of speed, elegant grace, and inherent power, a profound myth seamlessly transmuted into a commercial emblem. Cinema and television breathed new life into him with dazzling visual effects. In epic films, he descends majestically from the sky at crucial dramatic moments. His figure re-entered the gaze of the modern public, transcending generations as a timeless symbol of pure magic and inherent nobility. In contemporary art, his form has been continuously reinterpreted through countless new styles, from soft, flowing watercolors to expansive, vibrant urban murals. Sometimes abstract, other times meticulously detailed, Pegasus remains a silent muse for creators of all ages. Video games have also embraced him as a legendary creature. In many, he serves as a noble mount for heroes or a silent guardian of sacred temples. His magnificent wings provide passage across magical realms, and his pure essence, freedom and courage, remains utterly intact. Schools, venerable libraries, and grand museums still proudly adopt his image. He represents knowledge that elevates and transports the human spirit. He is used to powerfully motivate young minds to dream expansive dreams and to embrace the joy of learning. His winged silhouette inspires us all to advance fearlessly beyond our perceived limitations. Thus, Pegasus has profoundly transcended myth to truly fly within our collective culture, from ancient marble to the shimmering digital screen. He is an eternal symbol of boundless imagination, of profound, enduring power, and of timeless, ethereal beauty. His magnificent figure continues to gallop gracefully through the vast and intricate history of human art. And with this, we conclude our journey for tonight. May this story have ignited your imagination, providing profound rest for your soul. Thank you for joining me until this moment. Until next time, on Forgotten Scrolls.